Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talking Guns Episode 2. My name is Lycan.
I'm Indoor Pilot.
My name is Loco.
And we are here to bring you some post-BlizzCon excitement. We're going to discuss all the things we saw. Mei, Genji, and what's her name?
D.Va.
There we go. Mei, Genji, and D.Va. We're going to discuss the new heroes, how exciting they are, the cool new aspect they bring to the game. We're going to do another hero spotlight, and we're just going to talk about all the crazy things. I mean, the Blizzard folks have found where the internet keeps their excess salt, and that is in the Overwatch subreddit. And holy cow, I mean, you just saw this complete roller coaster of emotions this weekend where Blizzard comes out, and I wrote a little article for the Weekly All-In. And in the Weekly All-In, I've said that, like, you know, the pre-show is like this big broad brushstroke of like Blizzard beauty, right? Because all the awesome announcements they make, you come there, there's always an expectation, right? Because as for instance, the Warcraft trailer, how long have we been waiting for that? I don't know if you guys, I know Ryan played Warcraft.
About a year, I think. About a year.
You played about a year of Warcraft?
No. I mean, like, I guess we waited for about a year.
Well, so we waited for this trailer for a year because we knew it was coming. But
yeah.
All the way, what, I want to say 7 years ago, Ryan?
Yeah.
Like, 7 years ago, they were like, okay, we're going to be making a Warcraft movie. And we've just been waiting for it. So those are the kinds of really hype things that you expect when you come to BlizzCon and you watch the opening ceremony. Overwatch 2014, that announcement blew everyone out of the water, right? Like, the amount of hype and excitement was just absolutely freaking crazy. So come this year, I like to think that Overwatch still received the most boisterous applause, the most excitement. Would you agree, Loco?
Yeah, like, people were actually super excited about it. Just sitting in the audience, like, people freaked out over Overwatch more than, like, the WCS final winner and stuff. Like, basically at the very end, you could notice it, right? But people were like, or basically they did like this ending speech and they were like, oh yeah, we had the WCS finals and people clapped, right? And we had the World of Warcraft finals and a couple people clapped. And then you had like the Overwatch announcements,
all three of those
people freaked out. Yeah, but people freaked out over Overwatch. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So Overwatch, they came in and they announced a whole bunch of new stuff. Let's go ahead and pull up the screen regions. We'll go ahead and talk about this. Let me change the title, folks. And new content. Well, they'll call it that. So let's talk about the new content, right? They announced, first of all, 3 more heroes. That is D.Va, Mei, and Genji. All really kind of exciting. Genji is like the super stealth bionic ninja. I don't know what the forums really didn't know what to call him because they had kind of leaked, whether inadvertently or not, we don't know, but they had leaked pictures of these different characters. And they're just really exciting. They're really fun. They've been released. They were released Monday night. So there was that, right? And then, Ryan, why don't you go talk about some of the other things they announced?
Oh, man. I sat through all the panels for Overwatch because that's what I was there for. And you're right. You're entirely right. The hype there was ridiculous. They're talking about the lore a lot and like what they're going to do with the lore because there's no single player, so there's no campaign to play through the game and learn about it. So they're taking like a weird approach to it. So they're going to actually be releasing a graphic novel, which I thought was the coolest thing, like full on publishing it by themselves, graphic novel of how Overwatch was actually formed. Another thing they're going to do, and they released a trailer for this, and I couldn't. What are you doing to my computer? And I couldn't. I don't even know what I was saying now. Well, I could just walked over here and mess with my computer.
You're talking.
Yeah,
about the lore.
they revealed this like trailer. I thought it was going to be a new like cinematic, the one they did last year, and I was super stoked for it. But it was just broken cutscenes from different cinematics, and I'm not touching anything, dude. Just some broken cinematics that they're working on. We see baby Winston and the guy that raised him, the scientist, and what I'm assuming is the guy that gave him the glasses, because you see those same exact glasses that Winston wears on the scientist. We saw a lot of Tracer and Widowmaker, hatred and beef, so who knows what's going on between those two, so that's going to be a story. They've talked about, and they're going to periodically be doing these cinematics, and they talked about releasing, like, I don't want to call it a web comic, but they did say comics that they're just going to release over the course of time, just little tidbits of lore, and it just sounds really cool. And they just go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think they actually plan on just making more games in the same universe. Like they've done so for every single one of them, right? And I'm not sure. Like, don't quote me on this, but I'm not like they worked on this Titan MMORPG for so long, and they took a lot of assets for that into Overwatch. And I think it's the same lore as well, right? Like they tried making an MMO out of it, and then didn't really work. So they're like,
Yeah.
hey, what do we do with all of these assets, and what do we do with all the design and the graphics and the stories and all that? So
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they release another game in the same world. Like the world isn't even called Overwatch or anything, right? It's just like a part of like an organization inside of that world. So I mean,
Yeah. Well, so
I wouldn't be surprised.
one of the things they talked about was that they had been working on Titan and they had all that stuff that they were working on and they weren't feeling that it was going the way they wanted
Yeah.
to it. But what they realized is that everyone was playing the FPS part of Titan because apparently it was supposed to be like MMORPG mixed in with FPS kind of deal. And then
Yeah.
they realized everyone was playing that a lot. It was a lot of fun. They were like, you know what? Why don't we just do something with this? And they did. And I tell you what, man, like if the MMO is anywhere near as good as this, I mean, I trust Blizzard's judgment. You know, they make AAA titles. That's all they make. I trust Blizzard's judgment, and if they say the MMO part wasn't good, it probably wasn't. But I'd be curious to see how the world worked, you know, with
Yeah.
them creating this.
Yeah, it's easy to tell the story in MMOs, right? But in a shooter, it's very difficult. But that's like because they specifically decided to do it in like graphic novels and like trailers over time and stuff. I mean, it's difficult to make a story really make an impression in a game where you're not really living the characters, right? Like even in a graphic novel, it's pretty difficult. I mean, I read quite a bit, and I find it kind of difficult in the graphic novel. It's much easier than just reading. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised at the very least if like 2, 3, maybe 4 years down the line we see some sort of MMO or RTS or maybe
Yeah.
since they haven't decided yet what they want to do with the StarCraft team now that Legacy is finished, right? In like a year down the line, maybe they'll start developing something in that direction.
Yeah, the second panel, the one about all the lore, the actual name of the panel was called "The World of Overwatch." And,
Oh, right.
when I saw that, I was like, "There's no way they're making an MMO or already announcing an MMO right now."
No.
And as soon as they announced the name of the panel, they were like, "On second thought, we probably shouldn't have called it The World of Overwatch."
Yeah.
Right.
So let's go ahead and now. So they announced tentatively. They said spring, but the no later than date is June 21st of 2016 as a release date for Overwatch. And when they announced this, they
Well,
announced.
I was just going to say that happens to be the first day of summer, so the no later than date is spring. Just so you know, Lycan.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So with this, they announced the Founders Pack. The Founders Pack is you pay $20 more. I think it is. It's like $39.99 for the US dollars for the regular version, and then $59.99 for the Founders Pack. With the Founders Pack, you get 5 skins: Overgrown Bastion, Black Watch Reyes, Slipstream Tracer, Strike Commander Morrison, and Security Chief Farah. Origins, obviously referring to the origins of the characters. Each of these seem to be the different versions. From what I understand, the lore, Reyes being Reaper was the original leader or the first leader of the Overwatch. So
Yes.
got it. Yeah, he went to that panel. I think I was watching StarCraft at the time, but
I'm afraid I was as well. Yeah.
well, hey, we can split our passion amongst multiple titles. But
Yeah.
the only skin that I don't like, some people don't like Pharah because they say it just looks like normal Pharah. The one that I don't necessarily like is the Overgrown Bastion. I feel like that's what Bastion would look like after the Overwatch has kind of been disbanded.
No, like have you read the story of Bastion? I'm kind of a nerd, right? I've read all the stories of every character. And basically, the story of Bastion is that he was like sort of a defense robot, and he gained. Basically, they got abandoned after this thing they call the Omnic Crisis, and he basically got overgrown, and then he gained conscious again. So he basically lay dormant, I believe, for a couple of decades or whatever. So that's basically what he would have looked like, I suppose, after
Okay.
waking back up. But yeah, like all of the skins seem to be focused around some sort of lore aspect.
Got it. All right. Thank you. All right, now let's talk about digital goodies. I think one of the fun things about Blizzard and their special editions, which kind of make it worth it in my opinion, is that they tie something into all their other games. They reward you for purchasing one of their games by giving you something in any other game you might like. So, which kind of is also smart. The people like to collect mounts and pets and all that in World of Warcraft, so they're like, oh, well, I got to get that pet, right? So anyway, with this, you get the World of Warcraft pet this year, or for this title, it's going to be Baby Winston. He's pretty cute. He carries around a gun and all that stuff. Overwatch card back, which might be my favorite card back from all the ones that I've seen up to this point in Hearthstone. Tracer as a hero in Heroes of the Storm. Let's talk about that. Loco, have you ever played League of Legends?
League of Legends? No,
Yeah.
I've not played League of Legends. I've played a lot of Heroes of the Storm, though. Well, I've played. Okay, so I got to like I think it's level 30 or something in League of Legends where you can start playing ranked. And I decided I didn't really want to try. I did play it for like I don't know, like a month maybe, something like that. I played quite a bit for a bit, but.
Okay, so I don't know when you played that, but there was this new hero.
Like 2 years ago.
Okay, then you haven't seen this hero then, or you might have read about it. But there's a hero called, what's his name, Ryan?
His name's Echo.
Echo. There we go.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Echo. So one of his abilities, and I think it's his E maybe, I don't know, but one of his abilities is like a rewind kind of thing. So he regains health. He goes back to the position he was a few seconds ago. Then he has this one little portal where everyone in it, he throws this ball of light or whatever into it, and it like freezes you in that position, or it slows you down. I can't remember. Either way, I think that Tracer is going to very much echo in the Heroes of the Storm universe, assuming she keeps most of her abilities that she has right now. But either way, it's pretty cool, exciting. You buy this Founders Pack, you get Tracer, right? And they did the same thing with Tassadar for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. In Diablo, if you're a Diablo fan, you get Mercy Wings. So if you bought the Diablo Special Edition when Diablo 3 first came out, you got the pack of wings that you could... what are the angels called, Ryan?
It was Tyrael's wings is what they were.
Yeah, the yellow ones?
Yeah. So you get the Nephilim Tyrael wings, and in this one you get Mercy's wings. And they have, in the picture, they have the... what is this called?
Crusader.
yeah, the Crusader. And oh my god, does this look cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you, of course, get 6 StarCraft 2 portraits. And as we're all hoping, the portraits are going to become an even bigger thing in StarCraft 2. So, Ryan,
Yeah.
I love that your picture keeps popping up. And, like, it tries to pop up, and it's just like that crazy face you made. And yeah, so pre-purchase bonus for Overwatch is that for the Origins Edition, you pre-purchase it, you get the Noir skin for the Widowmaker. They don't have it pictured here, but she's pretty cool looking. You get all the heroes in the game. We'll discuss that in a second. The 5 Origin skins. Yeah, so I think that's it. Loco, you want to talk a little bit about kind of how the community reacted to the initial announcement of 21, all the heroes being given?
Yeah, so I think the main surprise that people had is that you actually had to buy the game. As silly as that sounds, right? Like they're basically going for a pretty classic, I guess you can call it at this point, like a classic business model where you actually have to purchase the game. Because most people seem to be assuming that it's going to either be, like a hero purchasable game where you have like an in-game shop where you purchase the heroes or the skins or whatever. And it seemed to me, at least most people were expecting that, including me, actually. I personally hoped they would have gone with something like the Dota 2 model, where you basically have all of the heroes, but then you can purchase skins in-game. What they decided to do instead is obviously make you buy the game, and you get the initial 21 heroes, basically given to you, and then you can still purchase skins in-game, although they haven't really announced how they're going to do that, or what the pricing or whatever of that is. And I guess the reason for it is that they... basically don't have any competition in this entire genre as it is right now. But one of the aspects that the community started talking about a lot, at least what I saw on the Reddit, is that it will, prevent hacking, at least to a certain point. In most free-to-play games, you're going to see a lot of hacking just because, when you get banned, you just make a new account and you play again, right? Whereas in Overwatch, you're going to have to spend another $40 to do that. Now, I think people were a little bit surprised at first, but I guess most people, I guess most people sort of came to the conclusion that it's really not that bad after all. As long as, I hope they will not be putting, future releases of heroes behind a paywall. I mean, 21 heroes is a lot, but I hope they will not be putting, the upcoming heroes behind a paywall. I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns that a lot of people started to echo is like, okay, wait, hold on. You're going to charge us $40 for this edition, and then you're going to make us pay $10 a hero after that? And I completely understand the concern. And I think what kind of bothered me, though, is that everyone in the community just started, not everyone, I'm sorry, that's blanketing. A lot of people, though, a very vocal, what seemed like a majority, started echoing the sentiment of, why would you make us pay for all this? yeah, why would you make us pay for all this and then charge us out the ass for more heroes down the line? First of all, everyone assumed it was going to be free to play just because Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm took that route. So because that's the popular, trendy thing to do with games, I think that everyone with this type of game anyway, I think that's what people thought was going to happen. And then they started analyzing the wording like, oh, well, Chris Metzen and Jeff Kaplan, they're saying on launch. They keep saying on launch. So does that mean later down the road? And they clarified it later in an interview with PC Gamer. They were like, look, we're kind of upset that everyone's getting on us like this. Like, we understand where that frustration comes from, but, and I imagine this is how they feel, they're working on this product for so long, putting their heart and soul into it, that when people just assume they're coming at them, the community for some price gouging, that's got to be a bad feeling. So they were like, look, we're not doing that. We don't know what the plan is for the future, but we're giving you all these heroes now because we feel it's important to have multiple heroes to change from, and if we only give you some of the heroes, that's not fun. But then people are like, yeah, but what is the future? Like, without definitives, the community blows up.
So like the thing is, like, they are not the ones deciding that, right? Like, I mean, there's $1 billion company like behind that, and they're like the designers of the game. They're not the ones, selling the game and setting up the finances or whatnot. It's just not up to them. So like everyone's lashing out on them, but it seemed a little silly, right? Like they just announced what they were told to do. I mean, I'm sure they have some sort of influence and some sort of say in it, but it's not like they're gonna decide how the game is gonna be monetized.
Right. So Ryan, you coming into this, you do play a lot of League of Legends. You're kind of transitioning from League into Overwatch. What are your thoughts on this payment model? This way of giving the game to people.
I am not a fan of any free-to-play kind of game because of the microtransactions, and I have a very weak point that I spend way too much money on them because I got to be the best, No, but I think it's great. I think it's the way it should be, and it's really annoying me that there are so many people just getting butthurt over this when there are millions of people who play games like Call of Duty and spend like $20 every 3 months to get a DLC. So I mean, who cares if that's their payment method? Like, that's a good payment method. I mean, yeah, we're not going to get one champion. They're not going to do something like that. But if they, release 4 new maps and 3 new champions for $10-20, that's great. Like, that's worth it. That's completely changing the game potentially with all those new champions and all those new maps. So go ahead.
One thing I don't mind that idea, because if you think about it, I mean, Loco, you can let us know your thoughts on this, but I think it wouldn't be unreasonable if every 6 months they were like, give us $20, we give you a bunch of new maps and a bunch of champions. Like, we're not just talking onesie twosie, but if they come out and they say, here are 3 champions and 4 maps, it's $20 to add those in.
Yeah, like a DLC based model.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't think that's a completely unreasonable aspect, if they're not doing what Call of Duty does and then adding in a new expansion every year. You know what I mean? So like Advanced Warfare, Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 2, if they're not like, and then Black Ops, because they also do that cycle, right? So it's 1 year Black Ops, 1 year Advanced Warfare. If they're not doing that model, I wouldn't mind the DLC.
Well, I mean, look at the parent company though. So Activision Blizzard, there's a chance that they do that model because they make billions off of that model. So you never know.
I mean, because they specifically mention you get 21 heroes and I believe 4 maps, they very clearly point out a number of maps, right? It is assumed, like, I guess you can assume that they're gonna do some sort of DLC action. I mean, they probably haven't internally decided yet how they're gonna do it, but they also haven't decided against it, right? Because it very specifically says the amount of stuff that you get for purchasing that thing. I mean, if they already decided, right, that you will get every single hero, they would just put in like the pre-purchase decision, like, hey, you will now get every single hero, right? But instead they decided to just call it the 21 heroes, and they said they weren't really sure how they're going to do that yet. So I guess it's mostly just speculation. I would say like the most obvious route to take from here is not to sell heroes, but to sell them in DLC packages. And then maybe have like an upselling in game with skins. So basically you would have to buy the base game and then potential DLCs, and they probably can package those later together if they have like 4 of them, right? So you can buy just the game and you will get all of the DLC included, and then maybe have some upselling in skins. I think that's the most obvious route to take from here. But I mean, it's all speculation anyway at that point. Like, people get upset, but I mean, I'm in the same boat as Ryan, right? Where you basically, spend probably a couple hundred, maybe 300-400 on Heroes of the Storm, even though it's not been out for that long, right? Like, you very quickly spend a lot of money on microtransactions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with getting skins in League of Legends. So I've probably spent well over $1,000. But I do have a very impressive skin library, if
Well,
you
there
will.
you go, man. That's worth it, man.
We
Like,
have
worth every penny.
We have your camera, by the way. So great success
Yeah.
on that.
I dig
Hey.
the Overwatch shirt, dude. That one was sold out in my
Oh, thank
size.
you.
I went
Thank
up to the counter and I was like, "Hey, can I have a medium of that shirt?" And he was like, "Well, I don't have a medium, but maybe you can try a triple XL." I was like, "Well, you know, like,
Yeah, 'cause I want to
like,
sleep in it. I want it to be a
yeah, that
dress.
doesn't make sense."
So the cool thing about the shirt, right, is he got it on Thursday, and we looked at it and we're like, "Oh, that's a cool shirt." Yeah. Ryan, show the shirt a little more. So if you guys look, you can see. I'm gonna mouse over it. You can see right here, right there, and right. I can't find Genji, but anyway, you guys see the point. Those two characters and then Genji somewhere. There are on the shirt. It was released. There were the 3 extra heroes, kind of like confirming, okay, there's more heroes coming, sort of thing. We didn't even think about that, but
Yeah, never even noticed.
but
Oh, you
anyway,
bought it before the announcement?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we bought it the day prior.
That's pretty cool. It's like, wow, look, that's Zarya right there with the pink hair, right? And you get completely distracted on it.
Yeah.
All right, sorry guys, I was just changing the title. So let's talk about esports. One of the things that didn't get touched on too much, but got touched on a little and enough to make me wonder, was esports. And someone asked the question, hey, are you going to support esports for Overwatch? And if so, what platform? Because as you guys now know, this is a multi-platform game. Xbox, PlayStation, and PC are all going to support it. And the answer was, we're going to support it on all platforms. And I don't like that answer. I believe that the issue is going to be twofold. The first is that it's going to split up the talent, right? The top players from PC are going to stay with PC. The top players that would be on Xbox or PS4 are going to stay on the console systems. And I don't like that. You know, you want the best, most competitive games to be with everyone that could be good at the game. And so if you force it and say, hey, Blizzard is going to, only support PC esports, only BlizzCon will be played on PC, things like that. Like, I don't see it as being logical that PC and Xbox would both get a BlizzCon finals or something like that, right? And go ahead, Loco.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think here. Like, I mean, they have the same thing for like Call of Duty and whatnot, right? But PC is always going to be superior as far as control goes, right? Like, is there? I mean, I'm sure you can be good on console as well, but I mean, you're just more mobile on PC. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. But...
Yeah, no. And there's a lot more skill needed to use the computer for aiming than there's a more skill for aiming without the aim assist that you get on consoles.
Yeah, they removed that in the last patch though. I don't know if they removed that only for PC or they're planning on adding them back in the
I think it was
version,
I think it was only for PC for that. So
all right.
But yeah, I think that I don't like that idea. So I feel like they might still be deliberating. But the second thing that worries me is that Xbox might come in, because Xbox is the official sponsor of Call of Duty, competitive Call of Duty, is that Xbox comes in and says, hey, we want to do this. And then I wonder, because OS X, one of the speculations of why it is not being ported, Overwatch is not being ported into Mac, is because OS X is a real big pain in the ass to deal with, right? So if that's the case, cool. If not, I'm wondering if it was kind of like a Microsoft, unique thing. So only Xbox, well, it's also on PlayStation, but I don't think they were worried about that. Like Xbox only, PC only, and then Microsoft's going to come in, and I worry that Microsoft will come in and say, and we want you to make this the official, Overwatch official Xbox esports, blah, 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 and then we don't get PC, Overwatch as the competitive scene. I'm obviously completely biased towards PC being the proper medium.
I guess we all are.
Yeah, I don't count Hearthstone because you can play it on a tablet, but still,
Is this like the first game since like Warcraft 3 that is not on Mac OS X? Am I crazy for saying that? Like,
No, I think that's right. Yeah.
that's pretty silly. Like, obviously the market is not going to be that big, but
yeah,
that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure how they would do like if they want to do the best of the best of the best players. I don't think it's possible to have like a pro gaming team at the top of the line compete on the PC versus someone on Xbox. Like, even if they manage to get both of the teams in game, I can imagine the people on PC just have an edge, right?
Yeah,
Is that a really
Yeah, I
weird
agree.
thing to say?
Yeah.
But
No, I agree. I completely agree with that.
yeah. So
I mean, if
that's
they want to do the best of the best, I guess that fixes itself. But
yeah, that's the case. So we'll see. I mean, it's an open-ended topic. We don't know where they're going. We have a lot of announcements to come though, because again, up until the end of spring, beginning of the summer, June 21st, 2016, we have a lot of time coming. The hype is being built though, guys, because they just released the biggest wave since the initial launch for Overwatch, which is really exciting. Monday they released a new 3 characters. So let's go ahead. We'll jump back to our screen region and we'll talk about the new characters, new heroes. It's the proper term, I guess. We'll start with D.Va, right? Loco, you had any time to get on D.Va yet?
I have played a whole bunch against her. I was most excited personally for Genji, so I've mostly been playing Genji. And I know you guys have been playing it at the actual event, right? But I was so busy running around everywhere that I didn't
Yeah.
really get the chance to. But she's pretty annoying to play against, just because of that robot. She has a ton of health, and she's pretty difficult to kill.
Yeah, Ryan, why don't you go ahead? We'll start with her fusion cannons. Just go ahead and run us through the abilities.
Yeah, so fusion cannons, that's just her left click attack. And it's kind of cool because there is no reload. You just have infinite ammo. And it's surprisingly pretty strong. I mean, for her being a tank, you wouldn't think she had like a super ton of damage. But I mean, it's a pretty solid firing rate. And you can just melt through somebody, like especially somebody squishy,
Yeah,
like a non-tank.
I feel
Yeah.
like the build that we played at BlizzCon, I feel like that was a lot stronger. I don't know, maybe it was just me, but they said it was an older build up in the room, so I'm not too sure about that. But either way, it's awesome that you don't have to reload, like you never have to worry about being vulnerable like that. Go ahead and talk about our
But
boosters. Oh,
well,
go ahead.
one thing I want to point out on that before we move down and talk about our booster, when you're actually firing though, you move so incredibly slow, and that's where her boosters actually come in and help this, because her boosters literally let her fly anywhere. So it's kind of like Tracer. You move in the direct, or you start moving forward or whatever, but you can actually get up off the ground. So you can fly up onto a ledge and just, I mean, not sniping, but snipe somebody from up there. And like, there's a lot of really cool things you can do. And the entire first time I played it, I didn't know you could come off the ground with it. So I just used it like getting through tunnels and getting through hallways and stuff like that. But it is at pretty substantial speed, and you can get to some cool places.
Yeah, I think one of the really cool things about it was that it is the most controllable movement of any of the, like, so you know how Reinhardt has his thrust forward. Who else has a movement? Like Genji can now do a thrust forward. Of all the characters that have that kind of rapid movement ability, this is the one that has the most control. Wherever you point your mouse is where you're going to go. So it's really, really awesome. Let's go ahead and talk about our defense matrix, Ryan.
So Defense Matrix is her E, and this is like a friggin' game changer, man. All she does is she puts out this like little hologram, looks like a hallway or anything or something like that. And any projectile that comes through your Defense Matrix, she has these like built-in guns that just shoot it down. You can't do anything while this is up. You can move around and you can boost and stuff like that. But as soon as you left click to try to attack something, it shuts it off. And I didn't know that the first time I played her, and thought I was gonna like block this Pharah ult because it'll literally take down every one of her little missiles from her barrage or whatever her thing's called. I thought I was gonna make some really cool play and kill her while she's up there, and then I attacked while doing it and instantly died to her barrage. So lesson learned, but yeah, it can stop anything. High Noon from McCree. Who else has got a awesome ult? You can shut down a Reaper when he ults. You just aim that shit on him, knock it out. It's awesome.
You just knock it out for yourself, right? Or does it disable the target?
It's basically any projectile that comes through that gets shot down.
Yeah.
So
okay.
if it wasn't being aimed at you, it still doesn't matter. It'll still not blow it up.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so give me 1 second. We just had the website just did something screwy where it stopped playing the video for me. I should have restarted my computer before this, so give me 1 second. Let me pull up those hero pages again. But I found her she's really a lot of fun to play. I mean, she's not like uber tank, you know, that can just take every single bit of damage that someone throws at her, right? But she's a lot of fun. She has a lot more mobility. Oh, well, the other thing, the boosters act as a knockback. So if you hit someone with the boosters, it pushes her away, which is really nice.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so we talked about the defense matrix. Oh, the other thing is if you put the defense matrix up and then you start to use another ability, you lose the defense matrix. It goes away. It's on cooldown. You're SOL. So don't like.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that you can still do your boosters while the defense matrix is up.
I don't know. Let's try that. But maybe boosters. But otherwise, if you try to shoot like left click, it's going to go away. Let's go ahead and talk about self-destruct. I think this is the most... I don't think it's broken. I think that people are just going to have to be more mindful. But go ahead and talk about it, Ryan.
Oh, man, yeah. No, it's not broken, but it is the biggest explosion in the game and deals the most damage in the game. And the range is ridiculous. So you're not going to run away from it, so you better just line aside it so you don't die. But her ultimate ability, or Q, actually has two different things that you can do with it. So if you're in the suit... you push Q and then you throw yourself out of it, and then you better hightail it out of there because you're going to die too. But I think there's a 5-second countdown, and there's a flashing warning for everybody. So you're not going to surprise somebody with this. And then it's just this massive explosion. And I don't think anybody in the game right now can live through it, like even at full health. So it's pretty awesome. And then the second side to that is, well, now that you're out of the suit, you have to regenerate your charge for your ultimate again. And when you're not in the suit and you use your ultimate, you call down a new mech. And then you're back up to full health in your mech suit. So one thing I don't think we mentioned yet is actually how awesome this suit is. You have 500 health, and 400 of that is armor. So you are the best tank, I would say, in the game.
Yeah, so that's a lot of mitigation. For those who don't know, there's a pretty decent amount of mitigation. So when you have a suit that's what was it again? 500 armor, 400 armor.
400 armor, 500 health.
All right, so when you have 400 armor being mitigated, it's just absolutely insane. The other thing is, once you lose your suit, you have to gain it back again by using the pistol. That pistol is the only ability you have. You don't have an E, you don't have a shift, you don't have anything. But when you shoot with the pistol and you get a hit, it's 4% every single hit, right? So you're rapidly raising your chance of getting your suit back. Now, when you respawn, you get your suit automatically. If you have your ult up and you respawn, so let's say you have your ult is full, but you haven't called down your suit, you'll automatically get your suit back. If you have your ult up and you lose your suit, you lose your ult, right? So it's kind of screwy. Like, you have to be careful with it and use it when you can. But you can, at the last second, like before you lose all your health, you can hit your ult just to try to kill whoever you can. So overall, she's a really cool character. A lot of fun to play. Really exciting. I've been having fun. Ryan's been having fun with it, and Loco seems to have not had fun playing against it.
Well, yeah. Well, no, she's good to play against as well. She's just the explosion is pretty massive.
Yep. So I'll go ahead and run us through May, and then Loco, you said you played Genji, right?
I played a couple hours with Genji. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you can walk us through Genji. So let's go ahead and talk about May. May is this little Eskimo Asian chick who I think she's Asian. Mei Ling. It sounds Chinese.
Mei Ling Cao, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's from China. Okay, so I was right. Anyway, she's got this freeze beam, right? Oh, let's see if that's what it starts with. Yeah, cool. Okay, so this freeze beam, it has 200 charges that just channel as you're doing the ability. And as you do it, it slows the enemy, and eventually the enemy freezes, right? So they're in position. Then you have, let's see if it shows it. Okay, it doesn't show it on the video, but then you have a right click, right? Your right click is this ice shot. That's an instant headshot if you can land it at close range, and it is pretty crazy. There's a slight delay though, so you would right click and it goes right click and fire. It's not an immediate right click fire thing, so you have to be you have to time it pretty nicely. Now we have the cryo freeze. This is an instant freeze, like it's like ice block for a mage, right? So you're getting fired upon, boom, you freeze. She heals, ignores damage, but you can't move or use any abilities. So it's kind of like as if you were a mage. You know, you're waiting for that priest to pull you in. You're waiting for someone to come up and throw up a heal. Same thing here. You can wait for Mercy. You can wait for Reinhardt. You can wait for something, and it gives you that extra little bit of survivability. Then you have Ice Ball, and this is an absolutely... Oh, if you guys want to say something.
1 second. Yeah. I remember like paying attention to see how much it actually heals for in the cryo freeze. I think it's 150 health, but I could be wrong if you guys know for certain.
I believe it's nearly full health. I believe she has 200 life by herself, right? So it's close to full heal for her. But It's mostly just like, oh shit, you know, retarget because I'm invulnerable right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up we have the Ice Wall. Now this one is a really cool ability, and it's pretty powerful. I mean, it's a wall. The wall can be damaged, so you deal damage to the wall, and different parts of it will fall down. But it's great for zoning out enemies, especially if you're trying to take an objective, or you have a sniper that's being extremely annoying from a certain spot. You get the right position, Ice Wall her up. It's really fun to use. You guys have any thoughts on that one before we move off?
It is the worst thing in the game, and I hate going against it so damn much. It's great, and like even on the attack or the defense, it is awesome. You can zone out, like your team can survive. Like it's such a pain in the ass, and you can actually put it underneath people and like pop them up in the air, so you can get your Bastion to somewhere where he shouldn't actually be, and they'll never expect him up there, and then he just rains down hate like a Bastion does.
Yeah, it's a lot of
It's
fun.
like boosting in CS:GO, right?
Oh, yeah, actually. And it's God, I don't know what to say. The ability is powerful. It's a lot of fun. I mean, there are so many. That's the thing. On all these maps, there are so many angles of approach that you can completely wall off. And yeah, if you have 5 people behind it, sure, but that could be just enough time for you guys to get into position, and then when they break through the ice, just mow them down, right? But and that's the thing. You don't want anything in this game to be so overpowered that you can completely negate a team, but you want those things that give you those quick moments of advantage, and that's something that this ability can do. And then you have her ultimate ability. It's this weather modification drone that she deploys, and when she does it, it gives like an area of effect freeze. They slow them, they take damage, and if they stay too long in the range of this ability, they get completely frozen solid. So it's kind of like if you were to compare it to if you were to combine it with some other things, I think it would be really cool to combine her with what's her name? Zenyatta, or the freezing, or not the freeze, the
Zarya,
Zarya,
the Russian.
Yeah, Zarya. Zarya has that, I can't remember what it's called, the Tovelstein or whatever, but she throws that bomb in there and it sucks everyone in. So then you can throw the Blizzard ability on top of that, and while you're damaging them, freeze them in place. So kind of like a chain CC. I haven't seen anyone do it yet, but it would be really fun to watch.
Yeah. So basically, Mei is one of those characters that she's going to be incredible in competitive play, I think, because she's basically one of those game changers that can completely, like, she's basically a dedicated crowd controller, right? Every single ability that she has, even her basic attack is just designed to slow down an enemy team. So I don't think, like, I've played against her a bunch, and, since I've been playing a lot of Genji, she's annoying. But, I mean, she's not particularly powerful. Like, she has a pretty small health pool, and, she doesn't do a lot of damage in general, but she's gonna be great at, like, objective-based play, where you're actually playing with 6 people, and you can just block off one path with the ice wall and then slow them down and throw your Blizzard in one other direction and just force them out of the way. And you can do a lot of cool stuff with that. And yeah, you can do a sick combos as well. But I don't think she's going to be that big a deal, at least for the moment, right? Until like really the competitive scene starts taking off.
Yep. So
I think.
I definitely agree. So Loka, let's talk about Genji and his first ability up is the Shuriken.
Yeah, so Genji is actually really cool. I've been playing him a lot, and I feel like you get some of the most tense situations with this dude.
Yeah.
You can like, this is one of the characters where skill will easily shine. You can take out like 3 heroes at a time. But anyway, so the Shuriken. So when I first saw him, I thought he was gonna be one of those heroes that only has a sword and you sort of melee people down. But he has the Shuriken, which are basically these like ninja stars that you throw forward. And you throw them always in groups of 3. With your left mouse button click, they basically just throw them in a line forward, and you have them all 3 right next to each other. And with the right mouse button click, it actually like throws them in an arc, so you have them, going outwards. Like I mentioned, I thought he was going to be a very, short-ranged hero, but the Shuriken are actually 100% accurate at long range as well, and they do a lot of damage.
Because of that, I can foresee that getting changed, just like McCree just got nerfed.
Yeah, exactly. You got nerfed like 50% at long range or something, but the Shuriken are super powerful at long range. Then again, though, the hit marker is tiny. Like, you need to be super accurate with it. And because you're always on the move with this dude, it's nothing too insane. But yeah, it's powerful. I didn't expect it at first.
Yep. Go ahead and talk about Deflect.
All right, so Deflect is his E ability, and basically the Deflect makes it so that any incoming bullet will basically be reflected up upon like another target, right? So let's say I had it a couple times where the Hanzo player, which is actually his brother in the story, was going up and was using the scatter arrow. If you activate the deflect in time, the arrows will actually bounce straight back at him. So it bounces back any bullet though, but especially with like high hitting targets, like for example, Widowmaker, Hanzo, McCree, and whatnot, you can deflect the damage straight onto them and basically do lethal damage. It's really good.
Yep, and yeah, and it can do. I don't know if you just said this, but they can do all alts. So McCree's ult,
Yes,
everyone gone.
It's insane.
Now,
Well, hold 1 second on that same note. It deflects wherever your cursor currently is. So
Yeah.
you can deflect a McCree ult, but you better be pointing that to somebody, or it's not actually even going to hit them.
Yeah, and it only deflect only lasts for like 2 seconds, I think, and the McCree ult is like 6. So you gotta be you can't predict when he's gonna click, right? So for some McCree, it's not that great, but yeah,
is that 6
works.
seconds post nerf?
Yes, I believe it was 10 seconds.
It used to be 10. Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ, really?
Yeah, it was a long time.
Oh my God, I can't even believe they let it be that long.
And the cooldown on deflect is pretty long as well. I believe it's like 10 seconds or 8 seconds right now. It's a long time. You can only use it every now and then.
Damn. All right, so talk about Swift Strike, that left shift.
Right. So the Swift Strike is basically a dash forward. And you dash straight through a target, but once you do so, you actually pull out. I think it's the dagger, actually. I don't think it's the sword, but you dash towards, like, through a target, and if you hit someone in that radius, and it can be multiple targets, they take damage over time. So it feels like it's one of the first characters in the game that has like a true damage over time tick. You can basically hear it as well in game. It's like see your hit marker. Basically, you see every single tick, and it does damage to a target for like 3 seconds. So oftentimes, for example, even when you're about to die, right? Even when you die and you have to Swift Strike on someone, you will still take him out, even though you died yourself. So it's very powerful. But yeah, you can also use it just for mobility, though. It also has 8 seconds cooldown, so you won't be dashing around like a Tracer, for example. I believe hers is 3 seconds.
Unless you kill someone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you kill someone with Swift Strike on, you will get the cooldown off immediately.
Yeah, and it's not like one of those things. I can't remember what the ability in League of Legends. There are some things where like you have 2 seconds to use the cooldown again, like on your ult. I think what's the guy with the axe? He also has the basketball skin, Ryan.
Darius.
Yeah, Darius. When you use his ult and you kill someone, you have like 3 seconds to use the ult again if you kill someone with your ult. With this situation, it's you use it and your cooldown is just reset, so you can go off and do whatever you want. But it's kind of. I wonder. Now here's something to test. If you kill someone, is there? If you kill someone with the strike and it resets it, and then you strike through people again, does it double apply the bleed?
I don't think it stacks. No, I don't think it stacks. I think it just resets the duration. That seems to be how Overwatch is made, at least. Like, that would make the most sense.
Yeah, that would be cool though. We should test that.
Yeah.
All right, Swift Strike done. Now talk about his ultimate, buddy. Dragon Blade.
Right. So Dragon Blade. Basically, Dragon Blade is it pulls out a dragon as well, just like Hanzo, right? Where you basically have to spear a dragon travel forward. His is a blue one, unless you're on the opposing team. But on Genji, it's actually a green. So you basically pull out the sword that you got on your back, like the katana, and you start striking away at people. And I believe your Swift Strike, the shift that we just talked about, goes off of cooldown more often as well. So you can basically just walk through a group of people and just keep slashing away at them, and it does a stupid amount of damage. Like if you're in range of it, you're gonna go down for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like Winston's ult, where it's that auto attack sort of thing.
Yeah, but this one actually does damage. Like this one doesn't do a lot, it feels like.
Yeah, so it's 150 damage per strike, and it's a cleave. So if there are 2 people standing next to each other, boom, it's 150 damage. I don't have.
You can get some. You can get some really cool play of the games with that.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
Yeah, so that's Genji. That's our last hero. And overall, Loco, who do you like the most of the new ones? I mean, I know you've played the only one, but.
Yeah. So one more thing about Genji as well that's pretty good to note. He actually has 2 passives. I don't think show up on the screen, but it's really good. You can basically he's the only character that can double jump in the game right now. So in like mid-air you can jump again. And on top of that, he also has like Hanzo's skill where you can climb up to walls. So you can basically cross any kind of terrain by just dashing back and forward, and it makes him really feel like some sort of ninja, right? Because you throw the stars and you can do damage at long range and at short range as well. He kind of sucks at medium range, but
yeah. The double jump ability and the wall climb
it's
together, huge. Like the B point on Anubis Is that what it
Yes.
is?
Yeah.
On Anubis, you can just jump around all those different towers, go platform to platform. It's a lot
Yeah,
of
they
fun.
can't catch you. They can't catch you. Like you actually, like you would say, he's much faster moving than you would imagine. Like he's not nearly as fast as like a tracer, but he definitely has a lot of mobility. And also like his just straight up dagger, just his melee attack comes
Yep.
into play a lot as well.
Yeah, that's another thing
Yeah,
to not
definitely.
forget. You have that melee ability. Every hero has a melee.
Yeah.
Ryan, who's your favorite?
Oh man, uh, I talked about D.Va, but she is probably my least favorite of the three. I'm not a tank guy. I don't like playing the tanks. I've been having an absolute blast with May. I think she's really strong. She's in a really good place, and
Mhm.
there's just some good plays that you can do with her. Like you can just keep going in, freezing people, throwing your icicle out, and then you're about to die. Oh, I just became an ice block. No thanks. Next time, buddy. Next time. So
Yeah.
she's definitely my favorite.
All right.
I'd have to go with Genji. Genji is really fun.
I'm
But
gonna
you know,
I'm gonna agree with you there. I think as far as personality wise, I think D.Va's awesome. StarCraft 2 player gone, to go save the world now, and she says a bunch of cool things like good luck, have fun, and I need to raise my APM when you use her E.
And nerf this or nerf please or what is it? Something about nerfing.
It's like try to nerf this when you use her ultimate. So yeah, I think that she's a really fun character. Really enjoy like her personality, but Genji is the most fun to play. So yeah. Anyway, let's talk a little more about the future of Overwatch.
Well, but before we go on to that,
Yeah.
now that we've had 3 weeks to play this, who's
2 weeks
everybody's
already?
new favorite? Yeah, 2 weeks. My bad. Two
I was gonna
weeks.
say it's been that goes really fast.
Yeah, now that we've had 2 weeks to play it, like I know that I said Lucio used to be my favorite, or on the first episode. Uh, are you guys still sticking with who you liked before? Has it changed now that you've done more games than
Do you
just the
remember the
one
one I
day that we
said
had to play it?
before?
No, I
I
probably
think
drank
I
that
said
memory away. I don't know.
I think I said McCree, and I haven't actually played McCree post nerf. Yeah, for anyone wondering, basically they nerfed his ranged attack by 50%, like his damage at range.
Thank
But
God.
yeah, no, like that was one of the most fun aspects. So I'm not sure right now. I've been having a blast with Genji, but I noticed I switched. Like this is sort of a good game, right? I had this with Heroes of the Storm at first as well. Every time I log on, I want to play a different hero. I never play like the same dudes over and over and over again. So I'm honestly not sure. I play literally every single one of them. I had probably the sickest games with Junkrat.
Oh, Junkerette is so much fun.
Yeah, he's an absolute blast. I love playing that guy.
Yeah, he's a character that it takes a little bit to get used to him, like
Yeah.
But yeah, he
No,
is
he's really hard.
a
Like,
lot
he's
of
really
fun.
difficult.
His if you direct hit somebody with your grenade, man, that does a ton of damage.
Yeah. I think it's like 80 or something. Like it's like half your life pretty much every time.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit of a skill to actually get that. Like that's not easy to do. And
Yeah.
then it bounces on a little bit of timer. So just Junkrat's I'd say definitely a mid to high range skill gap on that guy, or skill
Mhm.
ceiling. But yeah, he's really exciting. So
Which is yours though?
mine, shit, man. I can't remember who I said before. I think I said Farah, and I just want to say
Yeah.
that I still love Farah. Like, all right, so before BlizzCon, I had this amazing game. Haven't been able to replicate it, but basically what happened was you were attacking on
Watch Point Gibraltar.
Yep, you're attacking on Watch Point Gibraltar, and there's the lower part where people come out of, and then there's that little upper part, that small door. We went up there. I was Farah. Someone had Mercy, and it was just like I didn't know this person, but our synergies just clicked. And first, starting off while I was full health, they had she put the damage boost beam, and I was just blowing people up. They came out the top door, boom, 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 dead. Reaper didn't back off enough, boom, boom. I just looked in and killed him. And then down below, there were people trying to snipe me, like, what's her name? Widow, the
Widowmaker.
Roadhog, McCree, all of them were down there, and I was just like stutter stepping back and forth, like fire back, fire back, fire back. Oh, I killed 15 people before they finally got me out of there. And the only reason they got me out of there is because I got cocky, right? So I flew out and I went back and I started firing boom, 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 boom at them. And then McCree was like, and he killed me. So either way, the strategy was awesome because the Mercy wasn't a scrub and actually knew like when to swap between damage and healing and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
it was really just a lot of fun. So I'd say that Pharah has been my favorite still for a
Apparently, she got
while.
like a slight nerf as well. Did you
Ah,
read about that?
no.
Apparently, someone said like they reduced or they apparently it wasn't documented or something, but apparently the time between shots is
Uh,
now bigger. Like you
they
can't
said
like
that,
keep
but I don't
refreshing.
notice
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
All right,
It had to have been a slight change because I haven't noticed it either.
all right.
But yeah, I mean, Blizzard is known to, release undocumented, whether intentionally or not, undocumented changes.
I never understood why they don't document a lot of things. But
Maybe it's
yeah,
just like a surprise, or they think people will get it. I don't know. I have no idea.
it's part of the marketing. Let's go with that.
I mean, there's some great plays back in the day, or great plays, great design changes from back in the day. I would wonder what it was like. Like, let's think about World of Warcraft, patch 1.1 to 1.2, where they took rogues from able to one-shot armored warriors to not being able to do that. It would be really cool, like how many rogues would go in and lose so many PvP points because they were like, oh, I'm gonna kill this warrior, boom, and then yeah. So,
I'd
God,
never heard about that. That sounds awful.
oh, dude, rogues used to be so overpowered. That's why Ryan started as a rogue.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the future of Overwatch.
Oh, we don't care about my favorite champion?
I thought we were talking. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we already did.
No, I never said my favorite. Mine's Soldier 76. I'm not even gonna talk about how awesome he is. Go with your future of Overwatch.
All right. Well, hold on. There's one thing I really want to talk about. Soldier 76 is an amazing character. I think he's a great champion. People are really upset. They say he's lame, he's lackluster, he's not exciting, blah, blah. I don't think that at all. I think he is the run and gun champion. He's the run and gun. He's got a great heal that gives him survivability to keep just going around the map, doing circles, taking names, and I think he's really just a well
Yeah.
designed character. And then, but people are like, nah, he does everything. But and then his ultimate, right? That aimbot for like 5 seconds or something like that. 5 seconds of pure aimbot in the right position.
Yep.
So he's a runner and gunner's dream. There are so many other characters. Leave him alone. If you don't like him, there are 20 other characters for you to like. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah,
reality.
he's amazing. He's
Like
amazing.
basically, if you say you don't like Soldier 76, you don't like Call of Duty. Like
Yeah, pretty
any
much.
shooter really that has an assault class, right? Like he's just your basic all-round character, and he's super powerful. Like he's easy to underestimate because he's not fancy. I mean, one of his abilities, for God's sake, is just sprint. You hold down shift and you sprint. Like that's an ability, but I mean,
But it's so useful.
yeah. Well, yeah, he's good though.
That's one of the things people complain about. They're like, oh, all he does is sprint. And I'm like, yeah, sprint. It's useful. I'm sorry it's not some
It's
glamorous.
extremely useful. Yeah,
Maybe
he's
if they
faster.
called
Like
it.
he can run from everyone. Like
Yeah,
he's
he
good.
is. Maybe if they call it like bionic dash, people would be like, oh, that's so cool, bionic dash. Oh,
Best ability ever.
yeah.
He like
And
puts his hand on his hip and he's just running or something. And so it's amazing all of a sudden.
Actually, I'm going to change the topic. Before we talk about the future of Overwatch, I want to talk about what is a beta. Because there's a lot of salt on the subreddit and people talking about, oh, well, I've done this for Blizzard for so many years, or I purchased this. Does Blizzard not care about this? Let's get something really freaking clear, right? A beta is not for you to pre-test the game before you play it. You want to do that, wait for it to come out, go to Redbox, get the game and play it, right? That is not what a beta is for. The beta is to work out bugs. And now in the current market, sure, it's to generate hype. Like that's kind of the new thing that people have learned, developers have learned, is that betas generate hype, especially with the advent of Twitch and live streaming and all that stuff, and just the following that these people get. So yeah, they get the added bonus of generating hype, but really it's about stress testing the servers. It's about working out glitches and bugs within the system. Let's jump back before video game beta testing, right? And let's talk about software beta testing that still goes on to this day. A small group of people were given access to a piece of software. The people that would be using the software would be given access to it, and they would use it as if they were doing their day-to-day work with that software. Based on the data that was created by that beta, the people could then make quality of life changes for the user. They could make functionality changes, and they help to finalize the product. Because most of the time, even in that world, they have an end date An alpha is when you don't have an end date. A beta is when you have an end date and you need to fix this software and get it good for that end date. So you're bringing in users. There was the misconception that Blizzard had just given only popular people the beta, and that's not true at all. Blizzard gave thousands of people the beta. There aren't thousands of really popular streamers, so we only heard about the popular people getting the beta. But I think from behind the scenes, I heard 10,000 were out in the first day. If you look at the scheme of Blizzard gamers with like 4,000, if you looked across games, they have probably over 15 million unique gamers, right? Some of those, of course, do multiple titles. But if you look at that, they gave a small portion of people the beta. It's not like they neglected everyone or gave everyone beta except you kind of thing, So
yeah, they said at BlizzCon that there were 7.5 million people signed up for the beta. So if they give it to 10,000, like that's a fraction of a percent.
Yeah. So anyway, just don't get upset. It's not Blizzard hating you. I'm looking at a thread right now that's saying, Blizzard is going to make access for honest customer, or they don't care about us at all. Like, I don't get what this is supposed to mean. Like
that is Reddit though. People are emotional, right? I guess we're all humans, but I can understand where it sucks because they are very clearly using betas right now as a marketing tool, which isn't like you were talking about how it's like the basis of the idea is to test the game and get it ready for release, right? And that is definitely true in a way, but I would not gonna lie, I would be upset too if I didn't get the beta, right? I wouldn't start complaining about it on the forums, but I mean, there's people out there that have been looking forward to this game.
Well, like before,
that, really want it, but I mean, I cut them some slack, I suppose.
Before I was lucky enough to get into the beta, I didn't think I was going to get it into the beta on the first wave. I actually had a community person contact me from Blizzard and say, look, we're not going to give you beta access. We're being very careful about who we give it to, but we'll put you in on the first, weekend thing. And I was fortunate enough to have a friend and family invite to the beta to get the full access. But the point is that, even people that run, especially esports, actually, they were trying to avoid a lot of esports people. But I wasn't upset when she told me that. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I wasn't upset about it. So I feel like there's a little bit of irrationality in that mentality, but yeah. I get the being upset because,
I don't like the mindset where people are like, oh my God, I deserve this, right? I don't like that mindset. And I think that's what you're trying to say as well. Like people that have been playing every single Blizzard game ever since the dawn of time, right? They've been playing since like the Lost Vikings or whatever you had before that, right? People feel a little entitled to get an invite. And I don't really like that either. Like there's a lot of dramatic responses to that and a lot of emotional responses. And I guess it's good to, at least realize that from a business point of view, it makes perfect sense to invite mostly, well-known people into the game. I mean,
well, not mostly.
If you have to decide. Well, I mean, like a big margin of it, and at the very least, like, give them priority in a way.
I feel like,
yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I understand where it's coming from. I just, I think it's good to realize that it's not really the goal to. The primary goal is never going to be to create hype around the game, right? The primary goal is to test the game, but if they can do, the second or the first thing at the same time, they will always go ahead and do so.
Right. Well, the hype is real.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
You have anything on that, Ryan? The hype around this game is absolutely insane. Like, so we'll close off with this. Close off on a high note after that little bit of salt, my own salt venting. Overwatch. I do not know a game that, for not even releasing an alpha client, has created so much hype. You look at the Overwatch announcement in 2014. Between 2014 and October of this year, there have been videos, written content, articles, game guides for a game that doesn't even exist yet. There's fan art. There's all kinds. There are people announcing their mains before our October beta release, right?
Yeah.
So they're just...
my hero discussions, like
right, like
before the game came out.
Like
that's so stupid.
We laugh about it and we laugh at it. It is kind of fucking absurd. But on top of that, what other game has ever generated this kind of hype? What kind of game has ever come out and been like, just made a community, be a community before the game ever existed, right? So it's absolutely insane. You come up to BlizzCon this year, and again, you have the big anticipated Warcraft announcement. Legacy of the Void is about to release the week after BlizzCon. It is a time of so many awesome games. Legion, the most played game in the world, aside from League of Legends apparently, but the most played MMORPG in the world. World of Warcraft announcing Legion. Burning Crusade 2.0 in my eyes, but Illidan is coming back. There is so much hype. I have goosebumps thinking about it. It's going to be an absolutely incredible expansion. And yet, Overwatch was probably the most excited fucking response generator. It was just absolutely insane. So this game is going to be incredible. The future is announced. The future of Overwatch game comes out next year. After BlizzCon, let's start with you, Ryan. I mean, we were all excited. Obviously, we're investing in doing a talk show and stuff like that. But how? So maybe we're not the best people to ask, but I'm curious. Anyway, how do you feel, Ryan, about the future of Overwatch after this weekend?
Yeah, it's doomed to do well. No,
What? That turnaround, man. I'm so emotional. Like, what's he gonna do?
I think it's gonna do like ridiculously well. It's a first-person shooter on the console, so there's gonna be people coming over from that wouldn't necessarily get it if it was a PC game. I think it's. I don't know how the esports thing's gonna go, and that's my only concern. Is I hope they get it right, and I feel like they will because that's what Blizzard usually gets things right. But aside from that, like I think it's going to sell really well. They're hopefully going to come out with some sort of DLC or expansion or something like that to not just price gouge all their loyal Blizzard fanboys. I think it's going to do really well, and I'm super hyped for it. I want to play it competitively.
What about you, Loco? How do you feel?
All right, yeah. So I feel the same right here as well, right? But let me just go from the community's point of view, so we actually have something to discuss instead of us just giving praise, right? So a lot of people are talking about how, like, since the game is not going to be released for like another half year, and the payment model is a little bit weird, and since they don't really answer a lot of questions in a very straightforward manner with the maps and the DLC content, and since you actually have to purchase the game and all that sort of stuff, right? Do you think they're going to run into issues knowing that they created this much hype, but they didn't really capitalize on the fact that they generated all that hype and then people have to wait another like 6-7 months? Do you think that's going to be an issue?
I think that's an issue that Heroes of the Storm had, but I don't think they're waiting that long. I think compared to Heroes of the Storm, which released an alpha in February of 2014.
Yeah, it's like a year and a bit, right?
Yeah, they didn't release the game for that long. This beta is going to be about same length as the Legacy of the Void beta for the most part, just about. So I'm not too worried about not capitalizing on the hype. I think that we're going to be pretty good. Yeah. If we compare it to Legacy of the Void kind of thing.
Yeah, and they just say spring. So I mean that could be in March. We could see this game come out in March. So I think it's a well-timed, and all the streamers and all the podcasts that are already starting up out there, it's just generating more hype.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I'm just
no, I get it. And that's a good discussion point. I mean, so let's think about that though. There is the chance that this game could come out in April, right? Like we could get the word come February, like release date in April, and then because no one anticipated the release date for Heroes of the Storm, they just kind of said I think we might have been anticipating it for fall or something, and they were just like, oh, and it's released in June. I think after Heroes of the Storm. So,
yeah,
who knows? I mean, let's see what kind of like a competitive scene develops around this game. We're going to try to organize a Lycan League coming up soon so we can get some first real competitive action. And yeah, I'm excited for the future. I think it's going to be good. Again, I share Ryan's sentiment with esports. I'm not sure where it's going to go. And I share Loco's sentiment with the hype thing in regards to I am curious what it's going to be like the next few months. Because the year is still not over. We have the rest of November and December and then possibly 6 months. So we'll see.
I just think Blizzard is really good at making the hype go really well, but then they sort of miss that incentive to capitalize on all of it. Because, like, in the end, it just makes people very salty because they cannot play, right?
Yeah, so, I agree with that. But there are other game companies out there that are doing the same thing, and then they're capitalizing on that hype, and they're putting out just subpar products.
Right. No. I agree.
They'll lose out on a little bit of money because they didn't, hit the hype at its peak. But at least I get a game that works and isn't practically an alpha stage.
No, yeah, Blizzard is definitely primarily a game developer, right? Where the budget for marketing is just not as big as as development of the game. But
yeah,
I mean, we could do an entire separate podcast on that. But it's just one of those things that they keep doing with every single game, and it always feels like people always get upset, right? And I don't know if it's like the same with like any other game out there, but people always end up getting upset, and then the hype sort of fades for a little bit until the release date, and then people, become really excited again. But, just something I wanted to bring up for discussion, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it will sell. Like, it's a Blizzard title. It will sell no matter what. But.
Yeah, Blizzard's gonna get theirs. By the way, real quick, we'll wrap up the show. Just curious, how much do you think Blizzard makes from BlizzCon? Because I at first I thought they might be operating at a loss, but I didn't realize how much fucking gear they sell at that gear store. I was talking to one of the registers, and he said like there wasn't even the over yet. He was nearing $40,000 just for his register alone. So they have like 30 registers. I don't know. Like
I think
they had 64 registers. I think they said.
I think the goal for BlizzCon is just to, once again, it's a marketing event, right? It just goes out of the marketing budget. I think the goal is to break even.
Yeah, and that's why
I don't think they want to take a loss on it, but I mean, it's very expensive to put out, obviously. Like, it's very, very expensive.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I immediately accepted the idea that maybe they just operate at a loss.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I didn't realize everyone spends like $100 to $500 on gear.
Dude, I wanted that fucking Overwatch hoodie, man. Like, where is it? It was sold out.
Really, you didn't get one?
No, man. Like, I wanted one, but I got there the second day, and I was like, no, man. I only have like the XXS. I was like, well, I am not.
I was about to go grab mine to make you jealous, but I won't do that to you.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That was I'm just doing some math. Yeah, so if they did 30,000 each at 64 registers, that's almost $2 billion
for 3 days. Like, that was only one day, right?
No, that was his total.
No, he said that day.
Really?
But I guess let's say they make 15 million off of like, this is a very rough estimate, right? But let's say they get like 15 million off of merchandise, and maybe 5 million of that being profit, maybe 10 million. I mean, that's not gonna cover even a quarter of it, the entire thing, right? So,
yeah, and they
I mean, it's expensive, but yeah, I'm sure they make plenty
because they got to Lincoln Park and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, all the vendors and stuff that want to get their name out there, like, I'm sure they didn't pay a penny for any of those PCs that are in there. I'm sure Samsung and Intel.
Yeah. There were, like, I didn't actually know that was part of the event as well, but they had like big sponsors inside of the venue, right?
Yeah.
And they do a DirecTV deal, right? So I after really putting the pieces together, I think they do make a profit, but I also agree this isn't about the profit. It's about the communities. Yeah. It's about the games. It is a promotional event, but I genuinely think, and this is after like what we've had the chance to meet Mike Morheim several times now. You see this guy and his teams around StarCraft, Overwatch, Hearthstone. These guys give a shit, right? This isn't just lip service. This isn't a yearly, suck off the community, keep buying our stuff. This is their chance to like really, they're working 9 to 5 or probably 12-hour days actually during the week, and then this time of year they get to just come out and say, "Look at this shit, guys! Isn't it cool?"
Yeah. I always very much so get the impression with Blizzard that they're trying to create sick games first and make money second. Like, they create a sick game and then they try to make money off of that, and not like decide how they're gonna make money and then make the sick game. I think very well, like the Overwatch monetization, right, that we just talked about, maybe a good example of that as well. Because they could have just mentioned nothing. Like, they could have just not mentioned a thing, right? They could have just announced it like 2 weeks before the game, and then people wouldn't have been upset, right? But yeah, I definitely do get that impression. Whereas with other manufacturers, it seems a lot like they're trying to squeeze every single dollar out of the customer. With like, I guess we can name some games as well. Like what Assassin's Creed has been doing over the last couple of years, where they basically just release the same game every single year in a different tile set. I mean, it's the same damn game. Like, it's Call of Duty. Call of Duty hasn't really changed significantly since Call of Duty 4. Like, I mean, it's been like, what is this? Call of Duty 11 or some shit like that. Like, I'm very glad that they're trying to create a sick game first and then make money off of that, right? And that formula has been working very well, I suppose. And
I think they're pretty good at making money off of their already existing games. They got a lot of World of Warcraft money for me back in the day. It's like, oh, a new mount for $25. Yeah, let me buy one for me and the wife.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you all for coming on and watching our show. Ryan, Loco. It's weird how I use your first name / gamer handle interchangeably. But Pilot, Loco, thank you guys for being my co-host. Really great working with you.
Well, thank you, Lycan.
Yeah.
Ryan, you can be found at Indoor Pilot on Twitter. Loco, it's at Loco TV on Twitter, right?
Yep, it's Loco TV everywhere.
Awesome. Loco, Ryan doesn't really have any other content other than this. So Loco, any what can people see you on coming up?
Well, I'm focusing a lot right now on Legacy of the Void. I mean, StarCraft is my first and true love, and I have no, I have something on the side now. But like, I really do enjoy playing Overwatch, and I hope this game is going to be huge. Yeah, it's basically just local TV everywhere. I mainly focus on YouTube, just about to hit 100,000 subs, so pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, sweet,
Nice.
man. Thank you guys for coming on, and we will see you all next week, same time. Actually, different time. We're going to figure that out. We'll let you know. So follow on Twitter to find out. And hit that follow button. We will have the VODs up on YouTube. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you soon.
Au revoir.